So in this video we're going to talk about making decisions in our code, and we do that by using logic operators and compound expressions. So things like if this happens, do this, or else do this. So we're going to talk about if-else statements. Okay, so let's start off in our start function here. Let's uncheck play, and let's just look at the body of an if statement. Alright, so what an if statement looks like is it's the word if, an open close parenthesis, open curly brace, close curly brace. Whenever I'm programming, I always create the structure first and then I embed something in there. So let's say we want to check if 5 is greater than 6. Let's go ahead and drag debug.log health inside of here. So I'm going to cut that, I'm going to paste it in here. Now, something I want to point out. If statements are Boolean statements, which means they can only be true or false. So in order for this statement to run, 5 has to be greater than 6. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S, and I'm going to press play. And what you'll notice in my output, nothing happened, because logically we know 5 is not greater than 6. So let's go ahead and change that, and hit Control S, and I'm going to stop my play, and I'm going to press play again. You'll notice 500 runs. Because if 5 is less than 6, run debug.log health. And because we made this a public variable, we changed it to 500, and that's why we get 500 in our output. Now we can do something called compound if statements. So for example, we can put an if statement within an if statement. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to say here is if, open close parentheses, open curly brace, close curly brace, if 5 is less than 6, and by putting an if within an if, let's go ahead and place this inside, and you're going to see this a lot in coding. If 5 is less than 6, run this if statement. So we're going to say if 11 is greater than 8, debug.log. So let's go ahead and save this and press play. You can see 500 plays. But let's change that if statement. So if 5 is less than 6 and 11 is less than 8, let's go ahead and press play. You can see nothing runs. So you can embed if statements within an if statement like this to make it run. Now there's another way of doing this, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And I'm going to show you how to, instead of having an if like this, we can do else if. And that runs a lot like the if statement within an if statement. But with this, if this statement isn't true, this is a little different. In the last example, this statement had to be true to run the inside. With an else if, and the body looks like this, this statement will only run if this statement is false. So let's go ahead and do a debug.log in here, and let's say if statement is correct, or hello from if statement, or we can just do hello from if, that might be a little cooler. Hello from if. Let's copy and paste this in here. Hello from else if. Alright, so 5 is less than 6, and let's make 11 greater than 8. So notice that both of these statements are true. So I'm going to go ahead and Control S to save that. I'm going to press play. Okay. Notice, unlike our if within an if is less than 6, so it's played that. There's no reason for it to go on to else if, which is a secondary statement. So let's go ahead and make this one wrong. Let's make 5 greater than 6, but 11 is still greater than 8, and let's see what happens. Notice that it says hello from else if. So if this statement is true, it will not run the else if. If it is false, it'll jump to the else if. But what if the if and else if are not true? So let's say 11 is less than 8 and 5 is less than 6. Let's press play. As you probably guessed, nothing runs. So there has to be something like a default statement if neither of these end up true. And that default statement is just else. Now else takes no parameters. That's what these are. These are called parameters. With an else statement, all it is an open and close curly brace with whatever statement you want to put inside. So let's say neither statement is true. Right? So let's save this and let's press play, and we know that 5 is not greater than 6 and 11 is not less than 8. So let's see if it plays this if it plays the else, and it does. Neither statement is true. Okay. In the next video, we're going to talk about doing compound conditional statements.